The first time I noticed carpenter bees drilling into wood around a home, I honestly thought someone had taken a tiny power drill to the fence. Perfect little holes appeared everywhere. At first, they looked harmless. But after a while, the wood started weakening, paint began peeling, and sawdust-like particles kept showing up underneath the holes. That is when I realized carpenter bees are not just annoying insects flying around your yard. They can slowly destroy wooden structures if you ignore them for too long. And the scary part is that many people mistake them for harmless bumblebees until the damage becomes serious. If you are dealing with carpenter bees right now, you are probably hearing buzzing sounds near your roof, deck, porch, fence, or wooden furniture. You may even notice bees hovering in one spot like they are guarding territory. That usually means they have already started drilling tunnels inside the wood. Carpenter bees do not actually eat wood like termites, but they bore into it to create nests. Over time, repeated tunneling can weaken the wood badly, especially if different generations keep returning to the same area every year. That is why acting early is extremely important. One of the first things I always recommend is inspecting every wooden surface around your home carefully. Carpenter bees love untreated, unpainted, weathered, or softwood. They especially target decks, wooden railings, roof edges, outdoor furniture, fences, sheds, and wooden siding. If you see perfectly round holes about the size of a fingertip, that is usually the biggest warning sign. Sometimes yellowish stains or tiny piles of sawdust appear below the holes too. The earlier you spot these signs, the easier it becomes to stop the infestation before it spreads. The best long-term solution is protecting your wood properly. Carpenter bees hate painted wood because the surface becomes harder and less attractive for drilling. I have seen homes with painted wood suffer far fewer attacks compared to homes with bare timber. If you have unfinished wood outside your house, sealing or painting it should become a priority. Use strong exterior paint, varnish, or polyurethane coatings. Even staining the wood can help reduce attacks, although paint usually works better. Once the wood loses that raw natural texture, carpenter bees become less interested. You should also repair old holes immediately after treating them. Many people make the mistake of leaving the holes open after the bees disappear. That only invites new bees to return the next season. I usually recommend filling the holes with wood putty, cork, or wooden dowels after making sure the bees inside are gone. Once the holes are sealed, paint over them so they blend with the surface. This not only stops reinfestation but also strengthens the damaged area before it gets worse. Another thing that helps a lot is reducing exposed softwood around your property. Carpenter bees prefer woods like pine, cedar, fir, and redwood because they are easier to drill into. If you are building something new outdoors, consider using hardwood whenever possible. Harder woods are much more difficult for carpenter bees to tunnel through. Even pressure-treated wood can reduce the chances of infestation. It may cost more at first, but it saves you from expensive repairs later. One of the most effective ways I have used to stop carpenter bees is hanging carpenter bee traps around problem areas. These traps work surprisingly well because they mimic nesting holes. The bees enter the trap thinking it is a good nesting spot, but they cannot escape afterward. If you place traps near decks, fences, garages, or roof lines early in the season, you can catch many bees before they start drilling into your wood. The earlier you put them out, the better the results usually become. Noise and vibration can also discourage carpenter bees. They prefer quiet areas where they can build nests undisturbed. Sometimes simply placing a speaker near heavily infested wood and playing music or sound during the daytime can reduce activity temporarily. It sounds simple, but I have seen it work alongside other methods. Wind chimes, constant movement, or busy activity near nesting areas may also make the environment less attractive to them. Natural repellents can help too, especially if you want safer options around children or pets. Citrus sprays are one of the most common homemade remedies people use against carpenter bees. The strong scent can discourage them from nesting in treated wood. Almond oil and certain essential oils like peppermint or tea tree oil may also help repel them when sprayed regularly around vulnerable areas. While natural methods may not completely eliminate an infestation, they can become part of a strong prevention routine. If the infestation becomes severe, insecticidal dust or sprays may be necessary. I usually recommend applying these treatments directly into the holes during evening hours when the bees are less active. This helps eliminate bees hiding inside the tunnels. After waiting a day or two, you can then seal the holes completely. However, you should always read instructions carefully and use protective gear when handling chemical products. If you are uncomfortable doing it yourself, hiring a pest control professional may be the safest choice. One important thing many people forget is that carpenter bees return season after season. Even if you remove them once, you still need to stay alert every spring. Regular inspections can save you from major damage. I always encourage checking roof edges, fences, decks, wooden furniture, and sheds at the beginning of warm weather. The sooner you spot fresh holes or bee activity, the easier it becomes to stop the problem before the tunnels expand deeper into the wood. You should also understand that not every bee you see is dangerous. Male carpenter bees often hover aggressively near people, but they usually cannot sting. The females can sting, but they rarely attack unless threatened. Even so, you do not want them destroying your property year after year. The goal is not just removing bees randomly. The goal is protecting your wood and preventing repeated nesting that slowly weakens your home structures. Keeping your yard maintained can make a huge difference too. Old dead wood, abandoned furniture, and untreated timber lying around can attract carpenter bees quickly. I always try to remove unnecessary wooden clutter from outdoor spaces because it gives the bees extra nesting opportunities. Trim overgrown vegetation near wooden walls and allow more sunlight around damp areas. Carpenter bees often prefer protected spots with less disturbance and more moisture. What makes carpenter bees frustrating is that the damage usually grows slowly and quietly. At first, you may only notice 1 or 2 holes. But after several years, the tunnels can become extensive inside the wood. Woodpeckers may even start pecking at the wood to feed on the larvae inside, creating even bigger destruction. That is why ignoring carpenter bees is never a good idea. Small signs today can become costly repairs tomorrow. At the end of the day, stopping carpenter bees comes down to consistency. Protect your wood, seal old holes, inspect your property regularly, and deal with infestations early before they spread. The more proactive you become, the less attractive your home will look to these wood-boring insects. Carpenter bees may be persistent, but with the right approach, you can keep them away and protect your property for years to come. I hope this helped you understand exactly how to stop carpenter bees from damaging your wood and turning your home into their nesting ground. If you found these tips useful, keep applying them consistently because prevention always works better than waiting for heavy damage to appear. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today on Bedbug Rover. Stay safe, protect your home, and I will see you in the next video.